If you're planning to live out of your backpack for a while, like a digital nomad, then make sure that you get the right backpack. So the best backpack to live out in a short term in a hot climate would be just a simple bag that you can have as carry-on. So it's going to be a backpack with full functionality, but doesn't have to be checked. Now this saves you a lot of hassle at the airport. And the other thing, it makes it easier to make sure that you have all your stuff, because you'll have a bag count in your head when you're at the airport. And if you have 3 or 4 bags, it's difficult to count. If you just have one that's thrown on your back, you can't miss it. You're going to feel like you're missing something if you don't have it. Now, ideally your backpack is comfortable to carry for a while, because there are times that you're not going to be able to have a paved road to wheel it along, or a cab to take you somewhere. You're going to have to hike it on foot. There's more than a few times we've had to go 5 or 10K on foot just across a less inhabited part of the country, and just be prepared for that. So it should have good straps. It also helps if there's some webbing on the outside of the backpack, because the webbing can be used to hold wet goods so that they don't have to sit inside your backpack and make everything smelly or even damage your electrical equipment. You can hang the wet clothing off the side of the webbing and it'll dry as you're walking along. For clothing, try to strike a minimalist wardrobe. So this means you're ready for about 7 days, so you can do your laundry every 7 days and everything is dirty at the same time and gets washed. So you could take, depending on the weather, you could take at least a pair or 2 of shorts. You want underwear and t-shirts and socks for 7 days. I mean, if you're taking socks and not sandals. You want to make sure that you have enough so you feel clean and fresh, and especially if it's hot, you're going to want to change clothes more often. I find for my running, which I do the odd time, I'll take a t-shirt, I'll run with that t-shirt, it gets sweaty, I hang it up, I can use it again for another run before it actually gets a little too stinky to wear, and then it eventually gets lumped into my dirty laundry pile as well. The jacket, I would take one simple lightweight jacket that you can wear in the evenings when it's cooler, or it can actually withstand a rainfall and keep you dry if it does have a prolonged rain period that you want to get out and about in, and you don't want to be held back just because you don't have the right weatherproof material. You can also do laundry on the road if you take a small amount of detergent and you get a portable laundry line that you can string up between some trees, or you can string off your balcony, and you can hang your laundry for a day to dry, and then you don't have to find a laundromat. For footwear, I usually go with sandals. I like the Birks because they're good for my arches and feel comfortable walking long distances. Flip-flops are really good if you're at the beach. You need something that you're going to get wet in and not destroy, because the Birks aren't particularly waterproof. And then a pair of running shoes or something for hiking, depending on what kind of activity level that you like to do. So I have a pair of off-road running shoes that I can also use for hiking, so they dual purpose. So when I travel, I end up taking a pair of sandals and then these pair of fairly heavy-duty running shoes. Ideally, you'll tailor your footwear to your activities. So think about what you'd enjoy doing in these places and make sure that you have comfortable footwear to do that. For your toiletry, you need travel-size containers, so under 100 ml if they contain liquids, in order to meet the security requirement. Make sure to take prescription medicines if you have any. Pack them, and pack your prescriptions too, because with some medicines they'll ask you at the border to show that you have the authorization to be carrying this medicine, especially if it's something that's restricted in that country. And depending on where you're going, don't forget sunscreen and insect repellent. Yeah, insects can get pretty bad in certain areas, and they can also carry things like dengue, malaria. Important is the computer and other electronics like tablets, phones. You need charging cables for all of them. It's best to have a homogenized charging system like a USB-C, which does the MacBook Air, and will also do your tablet, and will do your phone for most modern phones. Some have proprietary connections, but most already use the USB-C. And it has a good throughput, so you get a good basic charge in a short amount of time. Your travel documents, so your passport, any visas you need to enter those countries. You want to make sure you have your payment means, so you have Apple Pay on your phone, or you have your credit cards available, you have some cash, safe place for some cash. Some people use a money belt, something like that. You're going to want to have your driver's license. Sometimes you need to have a driver's license in order to rent a car or a scooter to get around. It's also handy as an ID that you give in collateral. Say you rent surfboards, you have to give them some ID to be able to take the surfboards. And in case something goes wrong, I'd rather that they had the driver's license than my passport. It's always easier to get another driver's license than a replacement passport. Depending on the country, you also need vaccination records to show specific vaccinations to get into that country. If you're taking your dog, a lot of people have, travel across borders with dogs. They require a European pet passport or some other documentation showing that the dog has been vaccinated for rabies especially, and other, sometimes kennel cough and a few others that they require. It's country specific. Make sure you carry these documents with you, or you might have trouble getting your dog into the country. When you travel with your dog, make sure that you have a muzzle handy, because muzzles are often needed for public transit, like trains and buses. Now, some people take travel towels and travel pillows for the flight so you can catch a bit of a nap. If there's a better, smaller pillow that serves some other purposes that you can take along with you, that might be a better choice than the travel pillow. A bottle of water is also great, to be able to have some water as you go. If you can't find water anywhere else, you can at least get it out of the bathroom sink. Most backpacks accommodate a bottle of water on the outside of the backpack, so there's a pocket on the side and maybe a strap that holds the top of the bottle together as well, so if it does leak, it doesn't make your contents of your backpack wet. And a lot of people for packing are talking about packing cubes to organize things better. I find sometimes it's easy to organize without the packing cube. So first of all, packing cube is going to add some additional, weight and structure to the contents of your bag, making it less easy to move things around. There are definitely pros and cons to packing cubes. So I wouldn't say they're the silver bullet solution for everything. They do help to organize your stuff in a bag, and especially if you have a bigger bag, packing cubes are more useful. But in a smaller bag, I think the advantage of a packing cube is reduced, because you can just kind of put stuff in different areas of your bag and know generally where it is. Now, this is my Deuter Pace bag that I've been traveling with for over 10 years now, probably thousands of miles with this bag. It's been a great bag. It has no rips in it. It's 12 years old now, has no rips in it. The material is very sturdy. At the back, it has a good harness system, and there's even a waist strap system, which is very light. You can see the perforations in it, which lets it breathe in warm weather. So when you're wearing, the harness against your back, it's gonna have a chance to breathe. There's the holes down here in the waist belt, which is basically made out of a mesh, and the lower part of the shoulder straps are made out of a mesh. They're quite strong, but not that padded, so they're a little more firm. And then on the back here, there's a soft section that protects you from hard things in your bag, for example, and also absorbs some sweat, but it has some holes in it. It's quick drying, so it's pretty comfortable to wear for a while. There's no frame in this bag though. It stays like that. It wants to be like that, but it'll really flop if you want. You can just fold it up. It's not that rigid. There's a grab handle at the top here. You can grab it and you can carry it around easily if you don't want to put it on your back. And there's a hole here for an H2O pack. So you could have a pack inside, and then you can have the tube coming out here, and it actually feeds through right here on the arm strap. And you can have it for running and cycling and things like that. So it doubles as an H2O bag if you want to keep it for sports and getting outdoors. Now, this bag's been great to keep things separate, and by this time I know exactly where everything is. So on the top, on the lid, there's two main pockets. There's a front pocket here, which holds my entertainment stuff and electronics. So that's easily accessible. It's always on top of it's part of the closing flap for the backpack, and it'll be filled with chargers, passport goes in there, harmonica if I'm happen to be playing, other things like that. It's a pretty sizable bag, and you can see there it's pretty sizable, and it's also basically waterproof. The material on top doesn't allow water to come in, so I wouldn't trust it in a big heavy rainstorm, but it's good enough for just dashing through the rain or whatever. Nothing's ever got wet, and the zippers are also taped, so they have a little bit of water protection there, but it's not waterproof. Underneath the same top flap, there's another pocket on the back, which is about the same size as the other one on the front, but it's for more, secret important thing. Keep my documents there, might keep my pet passport, things like that, and some money if I'm keeping money in my bag. Other valuables, they can go in there, and other things that I especially don't want to get wet, because there's a second layer from the top pocket. There's another layer of nylon in between these pockets before any water would hit the lower pocket. So it gives it an extra measure of protection. On the outside of the bag, there are some straps here, and these are good for hanging wet bathing suits off of and other wet clothing. You have a wet t-shirt or something, or moist t-shirt. I found things were really hard to dry in like Germany and Portugal, and depending on the humidity that day. So you can hang them off of here, but it holds, it holds a water bottle on the side of your backpack, so it's easy to access, but if it leaks, it's not getting everything in your backpack wet. This is also a 36 liter, so you can see it's a 36 liter here. Now they've replaced this with either the Futura or the Technica, but back when I got it, it was voted as #1 bag of the year. It was awesome. The extensively had been tested by outdoors enthusiasts, and they just loved so many features about it. And I got to say, it kind of ticks a bunch of boxes. The main thing is that it's super durable and has lasted this amount of time, and still it's in great condition. It's not in new condition, but it has no holes and everything basically works. You can also buy replacement parts for these. These are pretty popular bags. You can buy them online on Amazon or wherever. If you break a snap or a clip, you can order that and get a replacement. So inside the bag, it's just one big opening all the way to the bottom. Has a extra heavy layer on the bottom, like Cordura, so you can sit it down. It won't rip, or the water won't penetrate into the inside. But there's a very exciting back pocket here, which I use all the time, and that's where I put my laptop in. So it separates the laptop from all the stuff that's in the main pocket, so that I can remove the laptop for like security, or I can remove the laptop just to work without having to disrupt all the clothing and toiletries and everything that are in the bag. I can just pull out my laptop, start working on the table at a cafe, and then pop it back in the bag. It goes into this slot in the back, and it doesn't disrupt anything else because it has its own special space. And I'll also use that space for some of the larger documents that I have to carry, some visa applications, and for the dogs. Some of the dogs' medical records are fairly large, so they go in there too, beside the laptop, to keep them separate. But it's great. When you're looking at a backpack, make sure that you can find a special space for your laptop to keep it safe. This one is also right against the back, and the back of the bag is padded so that the laptop has some cushion. If you do happen to drop the bag or you put it down, it has some cushion between the laptop and the outside because of this padded back. So I was able to put my theory of the 36 liter bag being the perfect size to the test recently. The plane had too much carry-on baggage, so they had everyone carry out a baggage test. So you have to squeeze your baggage into the little metal frame that they have at the every check-in, and a lot of bags got rejected and had to go under the plane, and they had to wait. The passengers had to pick it up at the baggage check at the other end. But my trusty little 36 liter fit easily in the size. It was flexible. I could squeeze it in, and it was just about the length of the baggage rack. So one thing's for sure, baggage testing frames are just getting smaller, and there's no telling when your bag is going to be too big for it and it's going to have to end up under the plane. So the 36 liter is still, in my opinion, is the most flexible size, the maximum size with the least hassle.